Are you planning a trip to the Kennedy Space Center? We are going to show you how to make your trip fun, exciting, easy, and the most memorable one. There is just so much to do at the Kennedy Space Center, so make sure to see the whole video to not miss out on something when you visit the KSC. Kennedy Space Center is about an hour's drive from Orlando. It is located on Merritt Island, Florida, and is one of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration's, that is, NASA's, 10 field centers. Before you go, make sure you are dressed comfortably with comfortable shoes on. Cause KSC is huge. There will be a lot of walking. Keep your caps, hats, eye shades, sunscreens ready. It's Florida and it's hot, especially during the summer season. Make sure to keep yourself hydrated. Another thing about KSC, you can bring in your own food and drinks, which is great for kids, especially in case of food allergies. Now let's get started with the visit to Kennedy Space Center. First, it's best if you get your tickets booked online. You have an option for 1-day or a 2-day admission tickets. We took a 2-day ticket since covering the whole thing with kids is a bit hard. There are a lot of offers from the Kennedy Space Center which are launched almost every month. So be sure to check them out. You also have certain offers and discounts if you are a Florida resident or if you have Bank of America account. Make sure to check it all out. If in case you are unable to book the ticket online, you can always buy it at the Kennedy Space Center. When you reach the KSC, you do have to pay for the parking though, which is $5 for motorcycles, $10 for automobiles and $15 for oversized vehicles or RVs. Next, remember to install the Kennedy Space Center app on your phone for ease and convenience. It updates you about the daily schedules and you can check out each attraction details, show times, etc. on it. Some of the experiences, such as the astronaut training experiences, are extra to your admission tickets. Its information is all available on the app or site, as well as the information desk at the Kennedy Space Center. Now let's go ahead and start with our mission zones. As you enter the Kennedy Space Center, the first building is the first mission zone, Heroes and Legends, which relives America's earliest space missions. Here you will be taken to see a short video of what it means to be a hero.
Elon Musk, take it away.
My greatest hero was my maternal grandfather.
Both of my parents are my heroes because growing up they taught me that I can.
Following this is the multisensory 4D experience where we relive the excitement and dangers of the first crewed space programs with the 4 space-age heroes Alan Shepard, Neil Armstrong, John Glenn and James Lovell. The third experience, A Hero, is an interactive exhibit highlighting 9 different attributes of astronauts: inspired, passionate, curious, tenacious, disciplined, confident, courageous, principled and selfless. The whole experience is enhanced with real artifacts from NASA's space program, including a Gemini 9 capsule featuring a realistic projection of astronaut Gene Cernan conducting a dramatic spacewalk. Other authentic artifacts bring the period to life, including the original Mercury mission control room consoles, Sigma 7 Mercury spacecraft atop a Mercury Redstone rocket suspended overhead, and Gus Grissom's spacesuit. Next up is the U.S. Astronaut Hall of Fame, a place where American astronauts are remembered and honored. Visitors can learn about the lives of space heroes through compelling displays. In the center is the Spirit of Space bronze statue of the first American in space, Alan Shepard. A special interactive kiosk allows you to capture a photograph with one of the Mercury 7 astronauts. Next is the Rocket Garden, as the name suggests, is a collection of various rockets. It is KSC's one of the most photographed attractions. Most of the rockets here are real, though never flown in space. You can check out the daily schedule in the app to see the tour times. Tour guides takes you around the Rocket Garden explaining about each rocket exhibit. One of the highlights of the Rocket Garden is the Saturn 1B rocket, which is one of the largest rocket. Right next to the rocket garden is the building Gateway Launch into Deep Space. This building is part of the mission zone NASA Now Plus Next. It is one of the most fun and attractive areas, which is full of colorful neon lights, and the entrance gives you the feel of entering into the space. This is one of my favorite areas. This attraction explores the future of space travel while highlighting what is happening right now in the space program. As you enter inside, you will see the Orion EFT-1 capsule, which was launched in 2014 for the Lockheed Martin's Capsule's maiden voyage test mission. You can also see the SpaceX cargo Dragon COTS 2. This Dragon was the first commercial spacecraft to deliver and return cargo from the International Space Station in 2012. Learn about the evolution of the Dragon's design, features, and reusability. Next up is the Sierra Space Dream Chaser. It is a reusable spaceplane, and with the ability to land on existing commercial runways, provides a space vehicle for NASA and private industry. The replica suspended from the ceiling as if flying through space next to it suspended overhead is the SpaceX Falcon 9 booster. This booster flew twice, most notably as a side booster for the Falcon Heavy test flight in 2018. You can also see the Boeing spacesuit, constructed by Adam Savage. This replica spacesuit features the elements of those to be worn by Starliner astronauts. Using the interactive screens, we can examine the helmet and suit, and even try on the gloves. Try picking up the blocks in the interactive screens using the gloves. These amazing exhibits are not all that make this attraction so amazing. It's the simulations and interactive screens. Try your hands to be the rocket test engineer to the Aerojet Rocketdyne. Try igniting the engine by mixing liquid hydrogen and oxygen. Next up is the most interesting and exciting part of this attraction, the Spaceport KSC. It's also one of the most crowded one, with wait times sometimes going up to 120 minutes. Here you can choose one of the 4 space journeys: Red Planet, Cosmic Wonders, Daring Explorers, and Uncharted World. Fly to never-before-seen world of Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Horsehead Nebula and more during this motion ride theater. There is a height restriction of 39" for this. For those who are unable to transfer to the ride seats, or have restrictions or sensitivity to motion, you can go to the observation bay to experience a full ride without the movement. As you move forward, you come across the next attraction, Journey to Mars, which is also part of the mission zone, NASA Now Plus Next. Here you can get to know NASA's plans to explore deep space, including Mars, asteroids, and once again, the Moon. This multimedia exhibit highlights what's happening at NASA right now. You can test your deep space savvy with interactive games and simulators, and explore replicas of Mars rovers Sojourner rover, Spirit and Opportunity Twin rover, Curiosity rover and the Perseverance rover. Along with these, check out the Ingenuity helicopter, InSight Mars lander and the Space Exploration Vehicle, the SEV. There is also a presentation every hour explaining what life on Mars will look like for humans. If you are interested in what the voyage to Mars will look like, check out the designs of the crew vehicle, Orion. The Orion will launch atop the SLS and will take the first explorers to the Red Planet. Here is a look.
Taking a lot of trips to and from this orbiting space laboratory for many years to come. Next is our closest celestial neighbor, the Moon.
As you come out of the Journey to the Mars section, don't forget to take a look at the Mars Rover Vehicle Navigator, which has been specifically designed for the demanding landscape of Mars. After you are done with exploring the Mars and come out, right across from the Journey to the Mars exhibit is the NASA Space Gift Shop, where you can get souvenirs such as shirts, caps, etc. If the kids are into some playtime now, you can head over to the Planet Play section, a fully immersive multiple-story play experience designed for a younger generation of space explorers from ages 2 to 12. Planet Play is an indoor interactive area where children play on the planets, including opportunities to map a constellation, climb a wormhole, walk on Saturn's rings, and slide through an asteroid field. While the kids are playing, you can grab a coffee, wine, or beer at the lounge upstairs. Right next to the Planet Play is the IMAX theater with showtimes for different films such as The Asteroid Hunters and The Last Man on Moon. You can check the showtimes on the daily schedule in your app.
I'll lose it. So I'm going to stick it on the table. I'll scoop out some peanut butter for my sandwich. I got to stick this somewhere, otherwise it just goes floating away too. Just for now, if it's just a few seconds.
The next mission zone is the Behind the Gates Kennedy Space Center bus tour. This bus tour is the only way to reach the mission zone, race to the moon, and then return back. Hence, plan it accordingly. During the bus tour, you come across some of the mission-critical areas of the Kennedy Space Center. As you see larger-than-life facilities from your bus, your guide takes you closer to exclusive areas like Launch Complex 39B and the Vehicle Assembly Building. While touring, hear from local space experts in their fields and learn how NASA has joined commercial partners to prepare for the future of space exploration. The last bus tour runs about 2.5 hours before the park closure. So be sure to take the bus tour.
It takes anywhere from 8 to 11 hours to transport a rocket from this location over to 39B.
The end of the bus tour leads to the next attraction exhibit, the Race to the Moon. At the Apollo/Saturn V Center, walk beneath a real Saturn V rocket, the type of rocket that launched humans to the moon. You can fully appreciate the size and complexity of the largest rocket ever flown through space. At 363 feet, that is, 111 meters long, it is 60 feet, that is 18 meters taller than the Statue of Liberty. Although a total of 13 Saturn V rockets were launched between 1967 and 1972, this is one of only 3 remaining in the United States. Do not miss the daily guided tour through each of the 3 stages of the rocket. The moonscape shows a scene from Apollo 11 when Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong planted the American flag on the lunar surface. The most eye-catching artifact is Lunar Module 9, LM9, an authentic lunar module created for the Apollo program. Get an up-close look at the vehicle that sheltered humans on the moon and lifted them off the surface when the exploration was complete. The Race to the Moon attractions contains various exhibits and artifacts of Apollo missions 7 to 10, such as the Real Command Service Module, the Apollo 8 and Firing Room, wherein you get to relive the launch of Apollo 8, touch and feel the Real Moon Rock. Next up is the Treasure Gallery. You can see medals, prototypes, and training gear tell the story of astronauts bound for the moon in this Smithsonian-affiliated exhibit. From Alan Shepard's moon dust-covered spacesuit to the Apollo 14 crew capsule, see authentic artifacts of the Apollo moon missions. As you walk down the exhibit, you come across the Lunar Theater. Relive the final few minutes leading up to the first ever landing on Moon.
Zone by 3 miles. A short time. With these first steps, mankind stood on the highest ground, and we saw our planet as our home port in the endless ocean of space.
Do not miss the Apollo 1 tribute ad astra per aspera, which shares mementos of fallen Apollo 1 astronauts' lives and reminds us of their sacrifice. Take a moment to relax and reflect on the incredible achievements of humankind in the Moon Tree Garden. These second-generation trees are direct descendants of seeds that were taken to the moon and were supplied by Rosemary Russa, Apollo 14 astronaut Stuart Russa's daughter and President and Chief Executive Officer of the Moon Tree Foundation. The 12 trees represent the 12 crewed Apollo missions. Next up is the last mission zone, Shuttle, a ship like no other. Once you are back from your bus tour and the Race to the Moon exhibit, you can see the tall and imposing shuttle ship Atlantis. You can't miss the entrance to the home of Space Shuttle Atlantis, a mighty full-scale space shuttle stack of 2 solid rocket boosters and orange external tank. After entering the exhibit, you can watch presentations on how the shuttle ship concept started and was finally conceived, and then the short movie of how the shuttle ship was finally realized and is now in use.
SRA separation confirmed. Leading to cutoff confirmed. Booster officer reports ET separation. Holmes 1 not required. Welcome to space. Shuttle like no other is placed in history secure. 33 missions, 26 years, over 126 million miles. Atlantis, welcome home.
Inside, Atlantis is displayed as only seen by astronauts in space, rotated 43.21 degrees with payload doors open and canadarm extended, as if just undocked from the International Space Station, ISS. One of 3 space-flown shuttles displayed in the United States, Space Shuttle Atlantis showcases the orbiter spacecraft and tells the story of NASA's 30-year Space Shuttle program. Right next to Atlantis is the exact replica of the Hubble Space Telescope. Hubble Space Telescope Space Theater also allows a close-up look at the configuration of Hubble and its solar arrays. Next up are the astronaut training simulators, where just like an astronaut, you can learn to pilot the space shuttle, including docking with the International Space Station and landing at Kennedy Space Center's Shuttle Landing Facility. Space Shuttle Atlantis features high-tech simulators that bring to life the complex systems and components behind the engineering of the Space Shuttle orbiter. You can experience life in space aboard the International Space Station, including how to sleep, eat, exercise, and function like an astronaut. The astronauts don't wear shoes aboard the ISS. Take your shoes off and travel between the Destiny and Unity modules before exploring microgravity theater and science experiments in space. Remember to experience your own landing by riding the re-entry slide to the first floor of Space Shuttle Atlantis. The exciting adrenaline rush it brings is only a small peek at how the astronauts felt during their real Space Shuttle landing. After experiencing the landing, it's time to check out one of the highlights of Kennedy Space Center, the shuttle launch experience. Enter for a pre-launch briefing by veteran Space Shuttle Commander Charles Bolden.
My colleagues have put together
Once on board, experience what veteran NASA astronauts call the next best thing to flying aboard the Space Shuttle. Strap in for a simulation of the Space Shuttle's 8.5-minute ascent into orbit.
Oh, look at the sky.
exit the shuttle launch experience, remember to stop by and try your hand on some of the astronaut training simulators. Before exiting the Atlantis attraction, remember to visit the Forever Remembered exhibit. It memorializes the 14 brave astronauts who perished during the loss of orbiters Challenger and Columbia. This permanent exhibit displays personal items from each astronaut and recovered hardware from both orbiters, including a section of Challenger's left fuselage with American flag and the framework of Columbia's cockpit windows. On exiting the Atlantis attraction, we come across the constellation sphere, which is also known as a Kugelball. This 9-ton black granite sphere etched with 88 constellations floats on a fountain of water, demonstrating the science of buoyancy and friction. Right at the end of the Kennedy Space Center is the Space Mirror Memorial. NASA's fallen heroes are honored at this monument to commemorate astronauts who gave their lives in pursuit of knowledge that lies beyond Earth. While enjoying yourself with various amazing exhibits, don't forget to enjoy the awesome food options available at the Kennedy Space Center. We hope the video was helpful and have a wonderful time at the Kennedy Space Center.